Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Watches with Dennis, and we're continuing our Watches and Wonders 2021 Geneva discussions, and today I want to talk about Oris. So, Oris ended up having 3 notable releases during the event, and so we're going to go ahead and we're just going to walk through those really quickly, and I'll give you my thoughts on them, and as usual, I'd love to know what you guys think about these watches, so if you want to comment in the area below, it would be most appreciated. So let's start with the limited edition watch that they revealed, and that is the Oris Aquis Dat Watt Limited Edition. So Oris has this campaign that they do. It's called Change for the Better, and it's all about preservation of life in the water and such. And so they do a series of limited timepieces, and they use that to support various initiatives related to oceans and rivers and aquatic stuff. So the Aquis Dat Watt is for the Wadden Sea, which I guess is a section of the North Sea. And to support that effort, they've come out with this limited piece of 2,009 units, which I believe is based off of the year that the Wadden Sea was given its World Heritage Site status. As you can see from the images, it's really the dial that is the interesting aspect to the watch. The watch itself is stainless steel. It's 43.5 millimeters. It comes on a steel bracelet. And the dial has the ability to show you lunar cycle and tidal range for the northern hemisphere. So it has a pointer moon function. This is something that Oris developed before this watch and is using yet again. And when you align the extra hand on the dial with the correct day in the 29.5 day lunar cycle, the watch is going to display the appropriate tidal range. As noted, it does indicate the current moon phase as well. So it's a pretty cool looking watch. This actually doesn't run all that much. I believe it's expected to be about $2,800 US, which given that it's limited to just over 2,000, 2,000 pieces isn't particularly limited, but it is a limited edition watch. I should note this does not use an Oris in-house movement. It uses a modified Sellita SW200-1 movement. So you all, if you care, it's a basic 4 hertz movement. Again, as I've complained about other watches that use third-party movements in the past, I don't have anything against third-party movements. I do have things against power reserves that are too short, and I think this being under 40 hours, it's a 38-hour power reserve. That's disappointing. I think it's a disappointing aspect to the watch, especially if you don't like to wear them over the weekend. So I would make note of that if you're someone that tends not to wear the watch a lot and gets annoyed at setting it, especially given that you want to set this one to keep track of the tides and such. Just bear that in mind if you're considering making a purchase. Staying in the realm of Aquis, Oris also revealed the AquisPro Date Calibre 400. And so that is a black watch that is in the Aquis line, but it's very different than their typical standard model Aquis. So this one, this is a beefy boy. It is 49.5 millimeters. It's a professional dive watch. It's water resistant to 1,000 meters. So I guess it's ultra professional. Titanium case. It's been treated to give it a black coating, which gives it that, kind of stealth look that they're running with. The dial is black. It does have a wave pattern, different than Omega's wave pattern, but nonetheless a wave pattern. I'd say the main thing that caught my eye about this watch is the bezel. So it's got a very large bezel. It's got a rubber grip on it, so you should be able to manage it even if you're wearing dive gloves. So they're really thinking functionality here. This also uses the rotation safety system, or RSS, that Oris developed. And so that is where it's a unidirectional bezel, which is pretty typical for a dive watch, but it allows you to lock it into place. And so the idea behind that is by locking the bezel, if you're using it to keep track of dive time, you would have better certainty if it's locked than on most dive watches where, in theory, you could bump that bezel and not know that you did so, and it could throw off your dive time. And that could be a problem if you were relying on it to keep track of how long you can safely stay under the water. This watch comes on a rubber strap, and it's got another patent that Oris has called the sliding sledge clasp. It's supposed to allow you to easily adjust the strap without actually removing the watch from your wrist. And the second aspect of the strap is Oris's safety anchor, which is supposed to prevent unintentional deployment so that it doesn't fly off of you while you're in the water. Now, unlike the Dat Watt, this watch is powered by an in-house movement. It's called the Calibre 400. This watch is a 4 hertz movement. It does have a magnetic field rating up to 2,250 Gauss. It has a massive power reserve, 120 hours. I haven't been in watches all that long, but that's the biggest power reserve I've seen on a dive watch that I've seen. Accuracy, pretty good, +5 to -3 seconds a day. So overall, I think this one's going to catch a lot of eyes. It is a lot more expensive than the LE model, but as far as luxury dive watches go, it's quite reasonable. It's going to be at about $4,500 US. The third reveal that they had was actually a set of 3 different colors of all the same watch, which is the Oris Divers 65 Cotton Candy Bronze. So, as the name would suggest, these are bronze watches. They come in 3 colors. There's a blue one, there's a pink one, and because it's 2021, there's a green one. They're very pastel in their color scheme, so I get why they're running with the term cotton candy, because like the pink one looks like cotton candy. Actually, the blue one does too. I've seen blue cotton candy. I don't think I've ever seen green cotton candy, but I suppose I can dream and envision. I don't know what it tastes like. Now, these dive watches are 38 millimeters, so we're getting quite a bit smaller than the other 2 we discussed earlier. And you have a couple of strap options. They have a solid bronze bracelet. It looks good. I'm wondering, is that coated with something or what? No, most of the time, people worry about bronze. Bronze can react to your skin, and it can irritate some people. Not to mention, it can leave a green residue in its most natural state. So normally, you don't see parts of the watch that touch the skin. And looking at the case back on these bronze watches, the case back isn't bronze. So I'm wondering, they must have done something so that it won't irritate. But anyway, it's interesting that they do have a bronze bracelet. There's also a brown leather strap option. Like the Dat Watt, these are powered by the Solitas SW200-1 movement. So my same concerns as before with the 38-hour power reserve. I think that's pretty disappointing for a dive watch. But again, it is what it is there. Price point wise, if you want this on the leather strap, any of the 3 colors, they're going to run about $2,300. If you want it on the bronze bracelet, it's going to be closer to $2,700. I think the bronze watches in general of all Oris announcements, are going to be the ones that get people the most excited, though what few subset of watch wearers who are actual divers probably are going to be most interested in the feature spec at the price point in particular that they have for the AquisPro Date Calibre 400. Not only is it a cool looking watch, so I mean, it'll attract non-divers as well, but it's exceedingly functional, overly functional. One might be able to argue. I mean, who really needs 1,000 meters of dive rating on a watch? But anyway, as I noted at the start of the video, I'd love to hear your feedback on what you think of Oris's reveals during Watches and Wonders 2021. So comment below if you have any thoughts, and I'd love to read them. And other than that, if you want to be notified when I have a new video, just go ahead and subscribe. And until next time, take care, everybody.